Very much. I appreciate all of the witnesses for coming in here today. Mr. Miele, great to have you in from the great state of Texas. Appreciate you coming up. And I'm going to start with you because I know firsthand from my friends and folks that I've gotten to know very well in Eagle Pass and along the Rio Grande, I know what you're dealing with. We talk regularly, and I'm sorry for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm deeply apologetic that the federal government has completely abandoned its duty to do its job at the border and left the people of Eagle Pass and the people of Texas stranded holding the bag, having to deal with obviously the impact on your communities. And so I would just like to hear from you. I know you didn't get a chance to finish your statement. Can you tell me, I mean, I've got information here that suggests that with respect to the EMS calls that your agency receives a day that are migrant related, I've got information that says the Eagle Pass Fire Department receives an average 45 calls a day, 30 of them are 65% being placed by migrants. Does that sound right to you?
That is, can you repeat the numbers, please?
45 calls a day, 30 of them or 65% being placed by migrants.
Correct.
Right? That's right. And that puts a particular strain on your job, correct? And on your facilities and resources, right?
Of course, on a regular basis, we would make 22 to 30 calls. That would be on a regular basis where there's no migrants involved.
And it can't be cheap to constantly respond to these calls, right? So the average cost for a call for service is about $700, right? And what it would totals out to each day would be about $21,000 a day to respond to migrants in need of EMS. Does that sound right?
The $21,000 is a little overrated, sir. We're looking at more like between 15 and 18,000.
Okay. So 15, we want to get the facts right. That's still a lot of money, right? $15,000 to $18,000 a day to respond to migrants in need of EMS?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that jump is no doubt put a strain on your employees. Is it fair to say that Eagle Pass residents have to wait longer for EMS and fire service than usual when you're overwhelmed as a result of the border crisis, the number of migrants that have to call into your services?
Yes, sir.
Some reports put the cost for this surge for the city of Eagle Pass at $2.2 million since mid-September. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds a little over.
Okay.
I would put it at probably half of that amount
Okay.
because it fluctuates.
Okay, so $1 million since mid-September on the costs that affect Eagle Pass, but that's $1 million directly as a consequence of that surge is being absorbed by the folks in Eagle Pass.
Yes, sir.
Since September. And so a question here is, with all of this, has the federal government reimbursed your agency for any of these costs meaningfully?
No, sir.
Okay, not at all. Well, thank you for that, and I'm sorry that we're not doing a better job to make sure that you all can do your job without getting overwhelmed. Mr. Camarota, let me just ask a couple quick questions. As of October 2023, the foreign-born population in the United States is 49.5 million people. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or about 15% of the United States population. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that not at roughly the highest levels we've ever had? Or, it's been there once or twice before, but now we're eclipsing it.
Yes, the top was 1890 at 14.8%. America has never been here before, and of course we're headed into uncharted territory in terms of the foreign-born share of the U.S. population.
Right. This population has grown the foreign-born population by 4.5 million under President Biden. So in other words, that 49.5 million is skyrocketing and blowing off that number, correct?
Right. I mean, if this were to continue, again, we just would set new records every month.
And does that not have an effect on education with respect to foreign-born individuals who do not speak English and the demands on schools?
Right. Since the United States spends about $17,000 a year, a little more than that, but per student, the cost of educating children from immigrant families is one of the biggest challenges. But on illegal immigrants, we know that they're just not being able to pay enough, anywhere near enough in taxes to cover that cost, creating real strains.
And a significant upward tick on the use of welfare programs?
Yes, illegal immigrants do make extensive use of welfare programs, which reflects their educational attainment. In other words, less educated native-born people use about the same. It's just that the immigrants are so much less educated on average that overall they have much higher use rates.
So you would agree that the illegal immigration problem at the border is having a massive strain on public resources across the country, and in particular in Texas and border communities and counties?
Yeah, as I said in my testimony, just for illegal immigrants, about $68 billion in public education, but that's for the whole illegal population, and about $42 billion in welfare costs. Again, that's for the whole population, not just the newcomers.
Thank you, sir.